On March 10, 2024, a 83-year-old Japanese animation director won his second Academy Award. His name is Hayao Miyazaki, and what he won for was a film he had not planned to make from a studio that no longer belonged to him, using a title that most people did not understand. This film, The Boy and the Heron, original Japanese title, How Do You Live, became the second Japanese animated film ever to win Best Animated Feature at the Oscars. The first was also directed by Miyazaki, 21 years earlier. But here is the strange thing about this triumph. By 2024, the world Miyazaki had built was already changing. Studio Ghibli, the company he founded in 1985, had been quietly sold to Japan's major television network. His original creative partner, Isao Takahata, had passed away in 2018, and Miyazaki himself had publicly retired multiple times before this film. So how did an 83-year-old man, no longer running his own studio, win the Oscar again? As a Japanese TV writer for 30 years, I want to explain what actually happened, because the story behind The Boy and the Heron is one of the most quietly extraordinary business, artistic and human stories in modern Japanese entertainment. 5 stories almost no one knows. Hayao Miyazaki was born in 1941 in Tokyo. He worked at Toei Animation, Tatsunoko Productions, and Zuyo Eizo before, co-founding Studio Ghibli with Isao Takahata and producer Toshio Suzuki in 1985. Over the next 4 decades, Ghibli produced some of the most beloved animated films in world cinema: My Neighbor Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service, Princess Mononoke, Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, and many others. By 2024, Ghibli's global influence was undisputed, but the internal reality was more complicated than the public knew. Now the 5 things. 1. Studio Ghibli in 2023 was sold to Nippon TV, Japan's largest commercial broadcaster. This news in September 2023 quietly shocked the Japanese animation industry. For nearly 40 years, Ghibli had been independent. Miyazaki, Takahata, and Suzuki had built it that way on purpose, to protect creative freedom from television network interference. But Miyazaki was 82, Suzuki was 75. Takahata had died in 2018. There was no clear internal successor. And Ghibli's global business, theme parks, licensing, film distribution, merchandise, had grown too large for a small independent studio to manage alone. Nippon TV, which had held a minority stake since 2014, acquired majority ownership. Miyazaki and Suzuki remained as directors on the board. This was, in real terms, the end of Ghibli as a fully independent studio. And the fact that Ghibli chose to sell to Nippon TV rather than to Netflix, Disney, or a global streaming giant is a story about the loyalty Japanese entertainment builds over decades. 2. The Academy Award for The Boy and the Heron was, in Toshio Suzuki's own words, dedicated to 3 people, not 1. At the press conference the day after the Oscar was announced, Suzuki was asked how many Oscar statuettes Ghibli had ordered from the Academy. His answer was 3. 1 for Miyazaki, 1 for himself, and 1 for Isao Takahata. Takahata, Miyazaki's lifelong creative rival and closest friend, had died in 2018 without ever winning an Oscar. Ghibli was, and had always been, a partnership between the 2 directors. When The Boy and the Heron won, Suzuki refused to accept it as only Miyazaki's victory. He insisted on physically ordering a statuette for the man, who was no longer alive. This is what the surface of a Ghibli acceptance speech does not show. Behind every Miyazaki film is Takahata's memory. Behind every Ghibli decision, Takahata's absence. The 2 Oscars now sit in the Ghibli office, alongside a 3rd for the person who is not there. 3. Miyazaki was, at the time of the Oscar announcement, in retirement. For the 5th time, Miyazaki has publicly announced his retirement, at least 5 times over the past 30 years. In 1997, after Princess Mononoke, in 2002, after Spirited Away, in 2013, after The Wind Rises. Each time he came back. The Boy and the Heron was itself made because Miyazaki, after retiring in 2013, decided he had 1 more film in him. The film took 10 years to complete. It was released in Japan in July 2023, with almost no marketing, no trailers, no interviews, no plot descriptions. Ghibli released a poster of a single bird. That was it. Miyazaki has said after this Oscar that he will no longer appear in public. This is his 6th retirement. Whether or not it lasts, no one including Miyazaki himself appears to know. 4. The Hollywood voice cast for The Boy and the Heron was assembled by Studio Ghibli's Western distributor, Kids, and it is one of the most impressive Hollywood casts ever assembled for a Japanese film. The English-language dub featured Christian Bale, Dave Bautista, Gemma Chan, Willem Dafoe, Mark Hamill, Robert Pattinson, and Florence Pugh, all voice acting in service of Miyazaki's vision. This is unusual for a Japanese animated film. Typically, Western dubs are handled by voice acting specialists, extraordinarily talented, but not necessarily A-list Hollywood stars. For The Boy and the Heron, G-Kids assembled the kind of cast normally reserved for major Hollywood animated releases. This decision, backed by strong Western distribution, meant the film was reviewed and discussed by Western critics as a serious film, not a niche import. And when the Golden Globe nominations came in January 2024, and the Oscar nominations followed, The Boy and the Heron was positioned exactly as G-Kids had designed. A major cinematic event, a serious film, a legitimate contender. 5. The relationship between Hayao Miyazaki and producer Toshio Suzuki is one of the most remarkable long-term creative partnerships in modern entertainment. Miyazaki and Suzuki have worked together for over 4 decades. Suzuki produced almost every Ghibli film. Suzuki also managed almost every Ghibli business. Relationship with theaters, with distributors, with Nippon TV, with the Japanese government, their creative dynamic is unusual. Suzuki does not tell Miyazaki what to make. Miyazaki does not manage Ghibli's business. They exist in complete mutual respect for each other's domain. This clean separation, creator and business partner, deeply respecting each other for decades. Without interference is why Ghibli has been able to make films the way Ghibli has. Miyazaki has been protected from every commercial pressure a film industry can impose. Suzuki has been trusted with every major business decision without needing to justify it. Very few creative partnerships in the world have this kind of clarity, this kind of trust, and this kind of endurance. Miyazaki and Suzuki are, in every meaningful sense, one of the most important creative pairings in modern global entertainment. The fact that they built Ghibli together and are now transitioning it to Nippon TV together is the completion of a story that began in 1985 and continues, quietly, into whatever Ghibli becomes next. So why should you understand Hayao Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli? Because everything about them the studio quietly sold to preserve its legacy. The 3rd Oscar for the friend, who is no longer here, the creator who cannot stop making films, the Hollywood cast that arrived to honor him, and the 40-year partnership that made it all possible, is proof of one thing. The most extraordinary cultural exports are not made by individuals. They are made by trust. Trust between friends, between rivals, between generations. Trust that lasts long enough to build something the world cannot forget. After 30 years inside Japanese television, this is what I see when I look at Hayao Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli. Now you do too. If there is another Japanese property you'd like me to break down next, comment below. See you next time. This was Kaizo TV. Please subscribe.